I want to send to you and your team Disney Pixar so you can tell them a big applause of what we've seen today.
I will tell them.
Yeah, I know it's a huge work behind every movie, but an animated movie is like, wow.
Yeah, you get nothing for free. It's all, you have to build it all. Yeah.
I want to ask you about how do you, Madeline, translate your own personality into the characters and the stories that you direct?
Yeah, I think as a director, especially in animation where, you have your actors that do the voice acting, but all the animation is done by committee. There's rooms full of people, as many people that are in this room right now, that all have to agree on, this is how Elio walks, this is how he behaves, this is how Olga moves. So it was very important for me and Domi to put a little bit of ourselves in each of the characters, particularly Elio and Olga and Gordon, the sort of three mains. Luckily, Domi and I are both kind of weird, nerdy kids at heart, so that part of Elio felt very natural, and I will maybe speak a little bit more for myself, but similar to Olga, I'm kind of uptight and a perfectionist, kind of like she is at the beginning of the film. And sometimes when I watch Gordon, I see a lot of Domi in Gordon, where she's pretty goofy. She's always trying to make me laugh, and I think that comes across in the friendship between the two. So we're all over this film, but also each individual animator brings a lot.
Thank you, Madeline. This is one of my favorite questions every time we get a new Disney Pixar movie, and I like a fan of your worlds that you created. I try to find this out. I know to make an animated movie is always a challenge, but there is always like a specific main challenge behind a set, a character. I always remember the hair from Sully in Monsters Inc. was one. The tentacles of Hank in Finding Dory. What character, what set can you choose from this movie to explain like the big challenge that was to make Elio?
Yeah, I mean the Communiverse itself is a massive set, and it is in real space. It's 2 miles across, which is kind of insane. And when Domi and I first joined the project, they flew us through the Communiverse almost like a live action set, and it was kind of overwhelming because there were so many details and the scale was so massive. And for us, the challenge was how on earth can we showcase a set so massive with so much love and work put into it? How can we possibly honor this incredible set? And hopefully, luckily we had an amazing director of photography, and of course Harley Jessup always had his eye on everything, but that was a challenge, just the sheer scale of the Communiverse. And I think character-wise, Gordon looks tricky because he has 12 legs, no eyes, but the animators hooked into him pretty easily. The trickiest ambassador to animate was actually Ambassador Cuesta. She's the pink floaty one because she always had to be moving a little bit, but not too much, and you always have to keep the attention on the character's face for their acting, but she's always kind of like wiggling around, so hers was, I think, the trickiest character, yeah.
We want to know about the research trips that you did for this movie, because I know that for Coco you came to Mexico, and for Luca you went to Italy, and the same with Ratatouille, you went to France. What happened here? Like, you didn't go to space. So, what was the inspiration to build all these sets, to build this world?
Yeah, that was the hard part, was that we're, at Pixar, we love research and we love to ground things in reality because it helps you access your emotions a little bit better. You see something a little bit familiar and you can kind of have an in. But for us, what were we gonna do? We can't go to space. So what Harley decided on was that while the communiverse would be fantastical, colorful, all that, he would use inspiration from things that feel alien on Earth. So, like I mentioned in the presentation, deep sea creatures, when you really dig into that, it's sort of bizarre. You can barely believe that these creatures are living with us on this planet right now. So already there's something about that that kind of gives you some small semblance of reality. And also, even just looking at cells up close, like fungus and mold, there are things that feel like they could happen, even though we don't see them all the time on Earth with the naked eye. So, for example, a lot of the plants that you'll see are kind of these strange, sort of mold almost looking things, but they're lit and designed to look extra beautiful, and they're in a scale that we'd never see here on Earth. So I thought that was a really clever way of making things feel plausible, but also still kind of, blow your mind. I've never seen something quite like this before. Yeah.
Yeah, congratulations on that, because it's kind of an abstract world also. Like, you don't have any inspiration, but you need to make like tangible things for people to feel, right? The emotion. So yeah, congratulations on that. I was telling everybody that you arrived at Pixar Animation Studios in 2013.
I was an intern in
You were an
2013. Yeah. I couldn't drink alcohol yet.
Yeah. That's how we all start.
Yeah.
And then you started working as a storyboard lead for Coco.
I wasn't a lead yet. I was a baby still.
You were a baby.
That was my first. Yeah, that was my first movie at the studio.
And then
awesome.
Onward was also on your CV. Borrow. That I love that short. How do you get to direct a movie at Pixar?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I think it's making connections over all these years. So, Coco was my very first project, and I arrived just as Adrian Molina, original director for Elio, had stepped into the writing and co-directing role. And what I heard from him and Lee was that they were nervous because Adrian moving into that role meant he couldn't storyboard anymore. And they were like, oh, but he had this, sense of humor, sense of timing, all that. But then I was hired, and immediately Adrian was like, oh, that's similar. So already we knew that Adrian and I had a very similar sensibility. And then I also worked on Turning Red, Domi's film. That was sort of the last film that I storyboarded on. And I think as you sort of grow over the years, you gain more confidence. People lift you up. I never thought I could be a director when I was growing up. There weren't any, especially female directors in animation. I didn't think it was an option. So it's only thanks to Domi, really, that I even thought this could happen. And also Adrian for inviting me into the project. I wouldn't have thought I could do this if he hadn't asked for me personally.
You kind of answered my last question, but I want to specify. We have a lot of students from animation here, and I want to ask you, what advice would you give to them about your creative process, or how you handle when you're blocked, when you don't have any creative ideas, or when sometimes you have you don't trust yourself as much as other people do?
Yeah, I mean, gosh. It's such an exciting time to be a student because anything is possible for you, and especially if you're still in school and you're getting to do your own projects. Now is one of the last times before you enter a job that you'll be able to create exactly what you want for your own short films or whatever project you're working on. And I guess I just encourage you to make exactly what you like right now while you have the chance, so you get to know your own taste, because once you enter a big studio, it can be hard. There's expectations, there's people giving you assignments. It's not going to be exactly what you want, but learning your own taste and the way that you like to do things, I think as soon as possible is important, because later on you might be given more opportunity to speak up, and then you'll know, I know what I like, and now I can voice it. I've had all this practice. I've made something. I made short films in school that I still, I know what I'm talking about because I made a 2-minute short, and that sometimes that confidence is all you need. So, but it can be hard. Art blocks are tricky, but now's the time to just, whatever you like, just go for it.
Thank you so much, Madeline. Un aplauso, por favor. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us, your experience.
Thanks for having me.
I am gonna introduce another important artist that was part of this movie that's here.